Hello, Scrappy friends. Welcome to Workshop Wednesday. Before we get started today, I'm going to show you a couple, give it a little plug for my two classes that are coming up, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do for today. The first class I have coming up is actually this Saturday, and it's not too late to register. I will put a link in the description to this video if you're interested. I'm calling it Document December. We are going to get together and make 2 double-page layouts, kind of keeping those layouts a little on the simpler side. This is more about getting photos on, instead capturing the whole excitement of December. So if you're interested in that, go check that out. And the other class I have coming up is called Make It With Me Monday. It's December 1st, which is what, 2 weeks away or so, 3 weeks. So there's still some time to join in on this. This one does include a kit of materials, and I do need to get that sent out to you, so the sooner you register, the better. The first round of kits will be going out this Friday, so if you're already registered. Okay, so those are my two plugs for the class. Okay. So today I'm going to continue my Scrap With Me, and I'm working in the Grateful Harvest collection. This is going to be a layout straight from my Playful and Polished cutting guide. So it's actually a very easy layout today. I'm going to kick it up a little bit by bringing in some tools, some ink. So let me go ahead and turn my screen around and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so here's the collection. Now in the cutting guide, if you have this or gonna get this one, it is the first layout, I believe. So it starts with fresh, full pieces of paper, but I'm gonna bring in some scraps to demonstrate today. So that could be done with scraps as well. So I have several different pieces. Now with the Playful and Polished series, I do bring in, if there's 2 paper packs, I do bring in both of them and try and get them both utilized in the 5 layouts. So you'll see these 2 pieces here are from the Tone on Tone pack, and then the rest here is from the original designer paper pack. Then I'll have a little bit of cardstock today, bringing in some caramel, and like I said, a few tools. We're going to build it all up onto some white cardstock today. Both my pages are separate. They're not mirror images or anything like that. So we're going to start with the first one. I'm going to bring back in this pattern paper, and I'm going to cut out some strips. They're going to be 2-inch strips, and you'll need about 5 of those. And you can mix and match your patterns. It doesn't have to be the exact ones that I'm doing. Look through your scraps and see what you have. You can have duplicates. You can make them, alternate. It's really up to you. Oh, this one happens to be 2 inches. Perfect. That's one, but I am going to cut another one. I like this green leaf pattern, so I'm going to use this one twice. I like this beige kind of watery wash paper. So we'll use that, 2 inches of that, and the polka dot. Let's see what we have here. Let's try this piece. I'll be bringing in some of these for the second side as well in a little bit smaller piece. But I am going to take a strip from the yellow piece, my last one, because I have 4 here. Okay, these are all 2 by 12. And let's go ahead and assemble this first piece. That's all we need to get us started. And I'm just going to stagger them around. You can, like I said, you can have 3 of one and 2 of the other, or you could kind of mix and match however you want. I'm just going to see what I like as far as putting them on here. I'm just going to start at 1 inch down and then just start layering them up. So I don't want the greens too close together, so we'll put that aside and maybe do the orange, the beige, maybe now bring it in, and then the yellow. If my measurements are correct, I should be just 1 inch from the bottom as well. Okay, that's the first side, and I'm going to bring in that cardstock, that caramel cardstock, and put a couple photo mats on here. These 2 photo mats are both 4 by 6, and I'm only going to have 2 photos on the first side. I'm going to kind of do a more decorative page here, and then do what I like to term as a photo dump on the left side. Kind of my highlight photos, if you will, and there's plenty of room here if you want to put them side by side. You could make this one big block, if you wanted to, or you could stagger them, which is what I'm going to do, kind of be a little bit more playful with the photos on this layout. I'll set this one aside a little bit. We'll bring it right back in when we get to the other, finish the other side. But that's all I'm going to do for now. I'm going to come back in and do some embellishing. This one's going to have a lot more embellishing on it than the right-hand side. We're going to do an elevated half and half. You guys know my go-to designs. My half and half is my favorite. But this one's going to be a little bit different because I'm going to bring in half of the paper here, and then this will be the first half, and then over here we're going to do something a little different and do more like a grid style over here on the other half. Let's measure it and see. Oh, it's a little bit bigger than 6 inches. I do need to make sure the measurement on this piece is exact because on the other side of the page, the right hand side of the right page, I want to have that grid style over there, and I need those to be exact. So this side has to be exact. So I'm just going to trim off this little piece and make sure that it's 6 inches, or else my measurements won't line up. On the other side of this, like I said, I'm going to do a grid, but what I want to do is put them into 3-inch sections. And so I'm going to have some photos and some areas where it's just paper. So I'm going to bring in some of the same papers we used over here. I like the yellow, the orange, and I'm going to bring in some of the green leaves. 3-inch blocks. So if I have 2 3-inch side by side, I'll be able to get two like this, and then 4 down. So 2 side by side, and then 4 down into a 3-inch blocks. And then I'm going to come back in. One section up here will be my titling area. I'm also going to have a journaling spot, and then these other papers will be used. If I'm not going to use it for the titling or the journaling, I'll probably do some embellishing right on them. And then I'm going to stagger some photos around. So let's do the title. Let's start with the title. I think that's a good place to start. I'm going to cut down one of these photo mats. And I have my template here. So I brought in my template. You guys probably have seen this before. It's I just made these out of the little cutting mats from the Dollar Tree. And this one happens to be 3 by 3, so it's going to help me when I cut my photos, but it's also going to help me when I cut my title. I used this one when I did my cutting guide, Farm Fun, and you'll see I put the cutting guide, and I just kind of made sure the title's going to fit within the 3-inch, and that does. I'm not going to use that today because my pictures are Thanksgiving. See, these are a continuation of the photos I did a couple weeks ago. The Harvest Blessings would work, and I thought that looked way too big, but when I put the template on, you can see, let's see there, I scooted it over so it goes pretty close to the B and pretty close to the S, but it does work. So that would work. It might look a little crowded. I would cut just a little of the brown around it, trying not to cut into my bottom mat card. But this is the one I'm actually going to use. It says Good Times. It fits perfectly. This one I feel like has a lot more room around. I'm going to cut right to the edge first to get this card detached so I don't accidentally cut into that. And then I have 3 inches, so let's see how far in. Not much. So I just need like 1/4 of an inch. So I just need 1/8 of an inch. This one, I just need a tad bit of that red. Okay, so I think my title I'll put right up here. I like that. It's kind of at the top of the page. Line everything up, and then maybe, let's see, I'm going to put my journaling box on one of these. Designer paper is 3 inches. I'm going to go just a tad smaller, 2 3/4 inch. So I'm going to move some of these around actually. So I have my title, my journaling box, and maybe this. There we go. That works out good. There we go. And then I'm going to come back in with some photos. I'm going to cut down some photos. I have a lot of photos I want to get on this page, so it's easier for me just to cut them down. I'm going to bring my mat. And so I don't need a lot of the background on these. So I'm just going to trim these down, get as much of the people and the food as possible. So I need 4 photos, trimmed down to 3 by 3. I will just do something like this. I think I'll move that one up. Here, let me take it off so you can kind of see the grid. So it's going to look like this. I like it. It's one way, to get a lot of photos on. Now these over here, to get 3 on my 6 by 12, I will need to cut them down. I'm going to cut them down to 3.5 by 5.5. And it'll line up like this. Plenty of room. There we go. That's our page layout. Simple, but yet it has a ton of photos. I love it. Okay, so we are ready to do some embellishing. I'm going to do some embellishing on these 2 areas right here. I am going to bring in some stickers, a laser cut border, and some embellishments, and some punches. Let's start with the laser cut border because I think this one adds a lot to the layout, just adding this. This is such a pretty, it's only one-sided laser cut border. Let's do that. Let's put it down here. Yep, I want some of that yellow showing, so I'm going to just put it like that. Then I'm going to bring in the tractor, just because it has nothing really to do with Thanksgiving. I just feel like it's really a great fall little accent here. But any big embellishment would work right there, kind of makes a little bit of a statement for you. Then on the other side, I'm going to bring in these embellishments. Let's see, how do I want to put these? I want to put it probably one here and then one up here, but we can always change them around. I like it better. I like this one because it's a little bit like heavier. This one's a little bit more airy and kind of goes up. I have room to go up into touch that journaling box ever so slightly. I like these little banners down here. And I've used some in other layouts, but I have 2 left. I also like these. These would be great if you're doing a farm. Change this one to the farm fun mat card, and then these would be great. I need 3 for what I want to do. So I'm going to take the plentiful, bountiful cornucopia would work. So let's do that. Okay, so my idea is over here. Here we go, like that, and then maybe the cornucopia. Good, because it has that different banner cut. One says plentiful. Just looking for things that would be good for words that would be great for Thanksgiving. I think I'm good over here for now. I'm going to come back in and give it a few little finishing touches. Let's work on this side. I like this one, Season of Plenty. And I actually like this Awesome Autumn. I'm deciding over here, I want it to come on this side. I have lots of words over here, and I think this is too much green here, so I'm going to tuck it in over here. And then this one, I think I put it over here. Take up some of this awkwardness right here, and I actually have some space in my photo, so I probably put it like up onto the photos like that. In fact, I think I'm going to pop that one up onto some foam. Let me grab it. I'm going to go up a little higher. I think I want to cover up now I want to cover up my photo a little bit now that I see it's a perfect spot for it. So maybe see what your photo has. If not, there you have plenty of room to come down. Let's bring in those tools. So which tools did I decide? Wooden Wagon. I had to get this in here. I think this is the cutest little embellishment for fall layouts. Let's try this. Okay, I think that's going to be good. Yeah, perfect. And I think I have enough left to do my other idea. So there we go. This little wooden wagon is so cute. I'm going to actually scoot the hay over, tuck the wagon in, and put it right there. And then with this one, my other tool I wanted to bring in was the tab punch, and put a little tab punch out on the other side. I only need a little tab, and I don't need it to be double thick or double folded over at all. So I'm just lining it up halfway, which is to those 2 little points. Hold it down. And then I'm going to come over here and kind of put it just on one. I love doing that. Kind of just puts a little something up here. You can come back in. Maybe I can write Thanksgiving there. I could even find another little word sticker and put it right there. What I like to do with these a lot is put the date. There's two. That's two of our punches. My next punch I want to bring in is, this is an older punch. It's called Gourd Time. One punch gives you all 4 of these pumpkins, but I only need 4. I actually only need 3 of these because I like my odd numbers. And so I'm going to pick these 3 right here. These are like more like pumpkins, and that's actually like a little gourd. My idea is to have my little pumpkins coming out of the wagon over here. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 pumpkins, but what I'm going to do first is bring in the ink, and I'm going to ink up the edges of these of the pumpkins, because when they're in here, I don't want them to get lost. So I think inking the edges will kind of, make them pop a little bit more. Now this is very tiny, so I'm just going to go a little slow here and go around each of these 3 just to give it a little bit more definition. And these little inks are perfect for this. So there's one. I want to take my green marker, let me use the wider side, and do the stems. A little bit of detail. And then I'm going to just put them into the wagon like that. Take the other one and the third one. I don't think I have room for it, so I think I'll put it on the outside, maybe here, or maybe even down here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to bring in a couple little gems for some finishing touches. These are just some green gems from my stash. I'm just looking here to see where I could put them. Up here in that journaling box will help kind of connect my whole embellishment area. Maybe up in all of them up to like that. And then on this side, I kind of like that with just 2. I was thinking if I wanted 3 there, maybe right here. There we go. I like that. And I have one more here in my hand. Can we find a spot for it? Maybe right down here off the side. There we go. Okay, there's my layout. Okay, I'll get that all adhered down and put a photo in my Facebook group later on. But thank you for joining me today. But I'll be back the following Wednesday, which I believe is like the 3rd of December, I think. And we'll be back in our Keeping It Simple series. So until then, take care, everybody, and have a happy Thanksgiving if you are in the United States and you celebrate that. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.